Welcome to Choosing Leadership. And this is another episode of the Can't Stay Silent series with your host, Sumit Gupta. This series is about finding the courage to speak our truth and live authentically. For most of my life, I have kept my voice hidden and buried beneath layers of fear and insecurity. In each episode of this series, I will find the strength to express myself from the bottom of my heart without any fear of judgment. These short episodes will be filled with honest reflections, simple stories and metaphors, and some gentle provocations, all to help you deploy yourself in your own life. Together, we will discover how we can create a world where all of us can show up as leaders. So, if you are ready to allow the leader in you to bravely listen to my call of leadership, join me on Can't Stay Silent. Today, I want to talk about how being smart and intelligent often and always leads to never having enough time. How that leads to always being with limited time, always being overwhelmed, and always seeing time as an enemy. This is very true for me in my life, and this is so true for a lot of high achievers or very smart people that I meet on a regular basis. And very recently, I met somebody and I asked this person, what is your biggest strength and what is your biggest challenge right now? And this person said that, what I'm really proud of is my high energy, is how smart I am, how fast am I able to think on my feet to come up with answers, to come up with solutions, to come up with plans, structured plans, milestones to solve whatever problem that my business has or that my team has. And I'm very accomplished in that. And this person looked back at the last 6 months and recounted what they have done for their team, for their business, and how they have helped their business and team to grow just by being very smart, by being on their feet, using their analytical skills, using their intelligence, which they studied for, which they honed over a so long period of time. And this is wonderful, right? Everybody should be proud of this. As an engineer, I myself have huge pride in my own skills to break down things or problems into smaller problems, devices plan, and tackle them one by one. I'm very good at it, as I am assuming many of the listeners would also be. Now I asked this person, right, what is your biggest challenge? That was my second question. And this person said, again, this doesn't come as a surprise. He said that my biggest challenge is time, or my biggest enemy is time. He said that I am super ambitious. I have this drive, this energy. I am very smart. I know what to do, but I never have enough time. There is more plans. There are more to-dos always than I have time in the day. And I'm always coming up with new ideas. I am coming up with new plans. I know what to do to solve the problems that we are facing, but there is never enough time. Time is my biggest enemy. And I asked this person a question, that could it be that what you described earlier as your strength, what has led you to all your accomplishments, which is your intelligence, which is your being smart, which is your ability to think in a very structured and analytical way, could that be the cause of you never having enough time and you always being in a hurry, you always being in a rush, you always being overwhelmed and stressed? And many times, as was for this person, this was impacting their health, this was impacting their personal relationships, because they were always in their head thinking about the problems, thinking about finding a one way or finding a way out of the quagmire that they find themselves in, right? And this really took them away from being with their children, being with their family, and being with other areas of life that was important to this person. And I asked him, right, and he was very shocked in a way, but very surprised. And he asked me, what do you mean? And I rephrased what I said in another way. And I asked him, what if being very good with planning, what if being very smart is actually leading you to never having enough time, to always being in overwhelm? What if that is a natural consequence of being super smart? And that brings me to what I described to this person next, and which is also a model which I use for myself, the horizontal and vertical dimension of time. And normally we see time as a horizontal dimension. Like we see time as something which is coming from the past and going to the future. We see time on the calendar. We see time as minutes, we see time as hours and seconds. And we always see time on this dimension, right? That it is running out, right? We are running out of time. And I told him that this is the horizontal dimension of time. And as long as we have this mindset about time, it only means that there is limited time. That's one natural way of dealing with time horizontally, that there is only limited time. And then what that leads people to do, as I have spent maybe many decades of my life, is trying to make every second productive. I remember that if I even had 5 minutes to wait or to do anything, I would basically open a book and read that, because I never wanted to waste any time, because I had always had so many books to read or so many things to do, so many lessons to learn, so many projects to execute, that I could make use of. If even 1 minute of a time in a day, I would do so. And that is the horizontal dimension of time, right? We try to cram or fill time up with things to do, because time is limited, right? Because time is flowing by. What this way of looking at time does, it makes you think or believe that time is finite, right? In this model, when you look at the calendar, when you look at a clock, when you look at time running by, time is always finite. We can always measure time. And there is an element of usefulness when it comes to planning, when it comes to analysis. You can look time from a calendar point of view. So there is an element of usefulness there. But at the same time, our dreams, our ambitions are always infinite. Right? We can never put a lid on our dreams, how big our dreams can be. And the moment we achieve or we find a solution to a problem or a challenge, the dream or the ambition actually goes bigger, right? There is no end to that. So this infinite dreaming, this infinite capability of leadership, actually to look for problems and create solutions, to look for opportunities, is infinite, right? And if you see time as a finite dimension, as a horizontal dimension, you will always end up stretching that limit of the finite dimension. There will never be enough time. In fact, there cannot ever be enough time for your dreams, for your potential, for your leadership, which are infinite, as they should be. What he described as a strength, what he described as a superpower in a way. And he's right? This person is right. This is a strength as a superpower. But at the same time, if this is leading to a paucity of time, this is leading to a shortage of time, this is leading to being stressed and overwhelmed, then that is something which this person needs to recognize and do something about it. The alternate that I presented to him said, instead of looking at time as a horizontal dimension, which will always lead us to always be in a hurry, always be rushing through time to not waste even a single second, instead of looking time at a horizontal dimension, I asked him that what if time is a vertical dimension also? What if there is also a vertical dimension to time which is not finite, which is infinite, and which is always available to us and which is never ending? And what that means is that what if we can do something right now in this moment, which is not based on occupying more time on a horizontal dimension, but something right now which can have such a huge impact for the future, for years, months, decades into the future, that you access what I call the vertical dimension of time. And I want to share another example which I also shared with this person. Like very recently, I was coaching a CEO of a large tech company who have set a huge ambitious target to grow their business by 3x this year. And this is a huge target for them. They have never done something like that, right? And many times when our conversation starts, so whenever I speak with this person and I'm referring to a particular conversation after they had set this 3x target. So again, for this person, being a very good thinker and executioner and a planner is their strength. And when they came to me in the conversation, their mind was occupied with so many things which are going wrong, and they started to talk to me about it, right? So they said that we have this 3x goal and this is not working well. We have to fix this. This is not going as planned. I have to do something about it. And obviously, the end point was I don't have time to do all of this, right? So I have this 3x goal. Now I have this huge thing in my mind, huge map. This is what I should be doing. This is what my team should be doing. This is what everybody is doing. And his mind is rushing into all of these structured places which he have thought about, or he doesn't have the time to even think about. And I stopped him in that conversation. And this person has a team of 100 people, so he has more than 100 people working for him. And I stopped this person, and I told him that we can go down this rabbit hole. We can go down this rabbit hole of thinking or planning or like whatever was occupying his mind, all of those issues or problems or plans to put into place to achieve the 3x goal. What if we stop right now and access the vertical dimension of time? And for a while, this person was confused, but I asked him a question, right? What if going to 3x was easier than ever before? And for this person, it was unbelievable, right? For this person, 3x growth would mean 3x more effort, 3x more clients, 3x more everything. And for that, he has to ramp up, like really ramp up, not just himself, but also his entire team. And I told him, what if there is an easy way? I asked him a question. What if the 3x is actually easier, less stressed, and you can achieve that in less time or less mental energy than your current level of results? Now, the current level of results this person had was with 20 clients. So he had 20 clients to produce the revenue that he was currently producing, and his mind, his overthinking mind, the smart, intelligent mind, was automatically thinking about 3x means 60 clients, and dealing with and acquiring and servicing and making sure that these 60 people, 60 clients are fully satisfied with the service. He also takes a great pride in the quality of the service that he delivers. So he wants to make sure that 60 clients are well serviced and they're happy with the service. And this opens up a huge maze of thinking, planning, because now 60 people, 60 clients, acquisition, servicing, delivery, everything is done, right? His brain is fried. He has more things to think that he can ever possibly think, and which means that he will naturally lead to a lack of time, overwhelm, stress, and taking away time from his family, from his health, from his other hobbies, and so on. And I asked this person, we can go down this rabbit hole of thinking about all of these things, like how to acquire 40 new customers. Let's say that was one of the things. How do I triple my customer base? Or we can slow down right now and see what we are not seeing right now, because we are so rushed. We see that time is running out. We see time as a horizontal dimension. So we are always rushing. We are always planning, thinking, acting, and we do not see what is right in front of us in the vertical dimension of time. And I asked him, what if this was easy? What if growing 3x was easier? And the person answered himself, growing 3x would be easier than before if I can do that, if I can do 3x the revenue with the same or lesser number of clients. So if I can do 3x the revenue with 20 clients or less. And immediately this person had fear come up, because as soon as you think of something bigger, because eventually the only thing that would mean is to increase your rates, increase your prices, or increase the quality of your service so much that you can demand that amount, the 3x amount, from one client, from one potential client itself. So that the organization's size remains the same or grows by a little bit, but certainly not by 3x. And he said it himself that if I take my current client base to 20 to 60 people, not only I, but everybody else in the organization also will be overwhelmed. And as soon as we slow down, we got comfortable with the idea that the path to go to 3x is not through 3x the client base, but to work with fewer clients, but at a level of higher quality, higher income, higher revenues, and so on. And now, a week after that, I'm just talking a week after this conversation, this person already has one client, which is the largest client that they have ever had. And it just happened. It just happened in one conversation, where instead of rushing, where instead of always thinking and planning and executing, this person slowed down, really listened to the potential client, and made them an offer to increase their business or to provide value in a way that is worth 3x what it was used to be before. So they have a client which is their largest client, so far, and they have one such client in just 1 week of slowing down and accessing the vertical dimension of time. And if this person continues to do so, as he will, because we do have these regular conversations as part of any engagement that I work with, this company, I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty confident this company has a huge potential, and they will very easily hit 3x. They will very easily hit the target that they have set for themselves. And they will do it easily. They will do it with less effort. And the choice is theirs. They can choose to slow down and access this vertical dimension of time and take those big leaps, which will obviously require courage, which obviously require dealing with your fears, insecurities, anxieties, which will come up when you talk about taking those big leaps. But they will achieve this 3x target, which is an impossible target for them, with ease. Or they can continue to do what they have always done. They can continue to see time as a horizontal dimension. They can continue to be busy. They can continue to be more like in doing, and they can maybe achieve, I don't know, where 2x, 3x, whatever, but they can do it with all the overall. It's a choice that we always have to continue operating the way that we have been in the horizontal dimension of time, driving, thinking, overthinking with our brains, and always ending up with time as an enemy, with never having enough time. Or we can slow down, we can stop, we can sense, we can listen, we can go deep, and we can see what is an opportunity which is here. What is an opportunity that can lead to those big exponential results? What is it that I can do right now that can lead to those exponential gains, not just now, but also in the future? And when you slow down and access this vertical dimension of time, the first choice you have to make is to say no. To say no to everything that doesn't contribute. To say no to everything that doesn't contribute to those infinite dreams that you have. So the patterns from the past, it's very hard for somebody who has a strength of being super intelligent or super smart to actually let go of that strength. Right? But it is very important to recognize when your strengths are becoming a liability. Any strength, even of being super smart or having a high IQ, if you cannot choose when to use it and when not to use it, it becomes a liability. Any strength, if you are compelled to use it all the time, becomes a liability. Take an example of Superman, let's say, and flying is a superpower. But if a Superman can never stop flying, if a Superman has to do everything in flight, if Superman cannot choose when to fly and when not to fly, the same superpower of flying will become a liability. Similarly, as a leader, as a successful high achiever professional, ask yourself, are your strengths becoming your liability? And can you slow down, and can you access the vertical dimension of time? And that means that you have to become comfortable with not knowing. A reason we are so smart, or reason that's very smart, very high IQ people like to go immediately into thinking, planning, problem solving, is because we are not okay with uncertainty. We have become smart because we have become not okay with uncertainty, and the mind rushes to create solutions before we even realize, or to create clarity, to create predictability. But to access the vertical dimension of time, to really access the vertical dimension of time, we have to be okay with not knowing. We have to be okay with uncertainty. Only then we can look at different options and access an option which creates impact in magnitude which was impossible to create otherwise. It made me realize that no matter how smart, how intelligent I am, if I get lost in my thinking, if I do not have control over when to utilize the skill or not, I am losing valuable time, energy, and focus on things which maybe even shouldn't be on my radar, even shouldn't be on my agenda, given my huge dreams. This is very counterintuitive but true. And you miss all the shots you do not take. Right? And what if seeing time as a horizontal dimension is letting you play only in a certain way, only in a way that you're good at, and you're totally missing out on playing some shots which can give exponential results, but which are only accessible when you access the vertical dimension of time. When you slow down, when you pause, when you listen, when you sense, and when you think and then act. Because if you're not taking those shots, you're missing all of them. Right? The horizontal dimension of time only has limited upside, especially as leaders. If you have 100 people working with you, maybe there is one decision you can make which can impact the productivity, the well-being, the lives of each of these 100 people. And rather than just thinking about what you can optimize, what you can do on a horizontal dimension of time, what is that vertical dimension of time? And what is that one action that can have huge impact, not just now, but for months, years, and decades into the future? And this vertical dimension of time it might be very counterintuitive, but this is always available to us. This is always available, and this is always infinite. The potential for results in the vertical dimension of time is always infinite. You can make one request and change your entire life. You can make one ask from your boss, from your employees, from your investors, from your customers, or from a stranger in this vertical dimension, and it can change your entire life. It can change the trajectory of your leadership, of your business, and of your results. It requires you to be present. It requires you to slow down the rush of filling time up, of not wasting a single second of time. It requires you to be present. Only when you are present, you can observe what you are thinking, observe your patterns of behavior and thinking, and interject them and stop them and choose to do something different and choose to observe time differently. This is simple, but this is not easy because this takes courage. For somebody who has this practice or this habit of rushing through time, seeing time as a horizontal dimension, simply stopping and sitting in silence is very difficult because it brings up all the fears, anxieties of not knowing, of not being okay with uncertainty. So this is simple, but this is not easy. At the same time, there's nothing rocket science about it. This is something which all of us human beings can learn and grow into. And when you get this, when you really get this, the time has a vertical dimension, and that is infinite, and that you have access to that dimension at all times. When you get this, your life will never be the same again. That's it for this episode of Choosing Leadership with Sumit Gupta. I choose leadership every time I record this podcast, and I invite you to do the same. I invite you to design a life of joy, meaning, pride, and satisfaction. This is what I do most naturally, to lovingly and gently provoke you, to help you see your own light, to help you see what you are already capable of. I say what might be uncomfortable for me to say or for you to hear. To continue the conversation, leave me a message on LinkedIn or drop me an email to sumit@deployyourself.com. And if you like the sound of this, do not forget to subscribe or leave a rating. And I invite you to subscribe to my newsletter at deployyourself.com/newsletter. Thank you for listening. Always remember that you are enough, you are loved, and you matter. This is Sumit, and until next time, keep choosing leadership.